Did you see the name of the tour?
No,
it's called the Big Divorce Energy Tour.
Let's go.
Do you like that title?
That is millennial chic.
Oh, oh my God. What a burn this guy. That's millennial chic.
Yeah, I like FOMO-sexual better.
You liked FOMO-sexual? That I think is the name of the special.
Yeah.
You like that better than Big Divorce Energy?
Yeah.
Why?
Because Big Divorce Energy, I feel like Big Dick Energy has been done.
Yeah, true.
So, and I don't know what you're saying with Big Divorce Energy. It doesn't reveal anything about you.
It's too late. It's already on the flyer.
No, but I like it. Hello and welcome back to Friend Crush the podcast. My friend crush this week is Adam Conover. He is absolutely incredible. He has done so many things in his career. You probably know him from his very famous show, Adam Ruins Everything. But now he has a really successful podcast and YouTube channel and internet presence. He's kind of everyone's go-to for like information and debunking things. And we talked about on the pod today how he sort of played his entire career, or at least that piece of it, as this character. And now he's at this point where he's kind of coming into his own. So we had a really interesting conversation about midlife crises and how he went through a really bad breakup. We talked about his recent cancellation, if you can call it that. It's where he posted a video that he sort of, I guess, regrets or was receiving some backlash about. So that was really interesting to hear from his perspective and sort of his learnings and growth from that. And of course, as always, failing the Bechdel test, we talked about sex and dating because you gotta do it, because it's fun. And that's what we're here to do, just mash parts. Anyway, I hope you guys really enjoy this episode. I had a great time talking to Adam. I always do. He's definitely a new friend, but hopefully a long-time friend. So let me know what you think. It was really a pleasure talking to him and talking shop. Anyway, let's get into it.
We met each other like less than a week ago.
I think 3 days ago.
3 days ago, and you came along with me to a couple stand-up sets, and I unburdened myself about my entire life to you for some reason.
We probably spent about, I think, end to end, I would say 2 hours together.
2 hours together.
And of those 2 hours, I think it was like quality time maybe for like 40 minutes. And I managed to learn, I think, everything about you.
Yeah.
It was like so funny because it was like we've been sort of like DM friends for a little bit. So we kind of like know like a little bit about each other, a little bit. And then, yeah, you just like, you see me and then you're just like, okay, here we go. Like it was like, you just like.
I just started unburdening myself.
Yeah.
Partially that's because that's what my material was about.
Yes,
and then
that's
also, true. I'm in a place in my personal life where I'm just very much an open book to everybody who talks to me. Okay. But then something about you, I don't know what it is, made me unburden myself. And then we hung out again the other night until like 2 a.m. just like talking.
Which was nice.
And so you had that experience, and then you were like, let me get this guy on the podcast to spill his messy life. Yeah. Was that the idea?
Well, the idea was, yes, that. Yeah. For views and likes and shares.
Got it. So we were having this personal conversation about like me and my mistakes and my personal things I'm trying to work through, and you were like, content.
And I was like, let's exploit it. If that's like, can we like do that?
Let's monetize it.
No, you know what I found to be interesting is, so this is, okay, so I feel like a lot of people don't know that you're doing stand-up just because your whole thing, like the thing that you're the most known for is separate from stand-up, even though it is comedic, right?
Yes.
Would you say that's true?
That's true, but it pains me because because stand-up is like my favorite thing, but everything else I did brought me to prominence before my stand-up. And so now I've spent the last couple of years like really focusing on stand-up in my career, because it would have been very easy to stop doing stand-up and just be like a YouTube TV guy. I know plenty of people who like I started with who stopped doing stand-up and others TV writers or whatever, and they're very happy. And something in me made me go, no, I really do want to be a comic.
Because you hate yourself.
Yeah.
It has to be.
It's a drive.
There's literally no other reason to do that. Especially at wait, so how long have you been doing stand-up for?
About 15 years.
15 years, yeah.
Let's see. 15 years. I have a thing in my calendar of anniversary. I started stand-up in 2010 as a yearly thing.
What's your date?
I don't remember, but it's in my calendar. I left my phone outside, but I think it's in July.
Wait, mine's in July.
Yeah?
Mine's July 13th.
Wow. But mine's also July 13th, let's say.
Wow.
Let's say that. Wow.
That's why, you clicked with me because we're twins.
Yeah. I started here in New York and I'm back here this month to do sets in the basements where I started, to try to write new material. And I've started doing that about once a year to come back here and just do garbage sets and just plop stuff on the fucking pottery wheel and see if it turns into a pot,
Right. Which can I just say, I know that I think you're selling yourself short because I know that it's new material, but I really loved your set.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. It was really cool to see you work and just the switch between the first show and the second show. Just seeing you just, make adjustments. It was I felt like I got a better sense of your voice and it was really fun to watch.
That's really nice of you to say.
Yeah.
That's a real compliment.
And I really wouldn't say that because I'm not a nice person.
Yeah, I've seen you talk. I saw a clip of you talking to Joey Dardano, and you were just mean.
Yeah, I was mean to him, and we were just talking about that.
You were like,
well,
you're
because I called him a basketball. That's a compliment.
Yeah,
he's looking
at you like.
No, I know.
He's
what you gotta understand about me and Joey is that we're best buds.
I saw him last night.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Where?
I was in the West Village, and I was it was one of those nights where I texted 12 people and no one could hang out with me.
Oh, perfect.
And then I was wandering on the West Village. I was like, I'm going to go to the jazz club. Yes. Thank you. Yes. I was like, I'm going to go to the jazz club Smalls. And then Joey finally texted me. He's like, hey, I'm in the West Village. And I was like, oh, I'm about to go to Smalls. And he's like, oh, I am right by there. And also I used to go there all the time. And then I went and just chatted with him out front of us on a stoop for 45 minutes. And then I went to the jazz club and had a great time.
That's beautiful.
It was beautiful.
How is he?
I mean, you're tight, I thought.
Yeah. I haven't seen him since because I was away for a few weeks.
He seemed like he was doing well.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay. Do you want to talk about me or?
No, I don't want to talk about you. Can we talk more about Joey, friend of the pod? He's kind of a staple in the household. No, that's lovely. Wait, so yeah, no, but basically the point in me bringing up your midlife crisis is, and you bringing it up as well.
Yeah,
I feel like it is such a rich. It's an interesting. Well, we were talking about this, how you're known for this one thing, and then now you're sort of exploring other parts of yourself in this.
Yes, I'm all my hour that I'm touring right now, and I came here to write more material that I'll put into the hour and just freshen it up before I tape it, hopefully later this year. Is all about sex and dating and shit like
Ew.
that. Which that sounds so boring to say.
When you said sex, I went
sex and dating. I have a joke in my hour where I'm like, I bet my audiences generally don't expect me to say come so much.
Do you say come a lot?
In my new hour, yeah.
Can I have an example? In what context?
You want me to do?
I don't want you to do a bit. No, I don't want
you
you to do a bit. But I'm just saying.
I have a joke about coming.
About you coming.
I forget. It's the word come comes up. No, it's not about me. It's about the abstract idea of coming. But then I go on to say, I feel like audiences aren't ready to hear me say come so much. And that's a lot of people's favorite part of the show. And they come up to me afterwards and, I didn't expect you to say come so much, but I liked it. No, I like what you're doing. So I went through last year, I went through a very major breakup.
Yes.
And that's the beginning of, that was maybe the 15% of the way into the midlife crisis, because things were leading up to that point,
Right.
But so now I'm single again for the first time since my 20s. I'm now in my 40s, and it's just a wealth of new subject matter, and also there's a lot about myself that I'm trying to figure out fresh. So my attention is very focused on my personal life in a way that it truly was not before. Me and my ex had gotten together. and we were work monsters, for like the 15 years of our relationship. She's a cartoonist, and she has created a television show and a show run and like works in TV.
Wow.
And when we met, I was just like trying to get started in comedy. She was trying to get started in cartooning. We met and we just like, worked as partners and as a relationship. But for that period, just like head down, comedy.
And were you would like run things by each other and sort of.
100%. Yeah. I mean, it was like.
That's kind of my dream, actually.
It was really, it was wonderful. I mean, every night I'd be like, I'm going to go do open mics. And she was like, yeah, I'm drawing tonight, and it wasn't like, oh, hey, aren't we going to go out? Right. It was like, we both know that work comes first and, travel and family and all the important stuff of life. But, and then we moved to LA and we started working in television, and it was just like, go, right? But the result was I like didn't have the kind of personal life that one writes about, in stand-up comedy. So my stand-up my last hour was about my childhood diagnosis with ADD and stuff like that. But ultimately, when I'm writing about ADD, what am I writing about? I'm writing about work, right? Because the whole problem with ADD or ADHD interferes with your work. How do you focus, right? And that's fine. People found that special relatable, and I'm really proud of it. But after it came out, I was sort of like, had the feeling, I've gotten to where I am in my career, but I was like, well, the comedians who are even more popular than I am, who I admire, what do they talk about? They talk about sex. Because everybody cares about it, They talk about sex, or the ones who I don't like, they talk about the differences between different races. Those are the two topics, right? Because what do tourists agree on is that people from other countries are strange. You know what I mean? People from every country agree that Greek people are like this and Lebanese people are like that.
Yeah.
And so if you want to be that kind of comic, you can do that, right? Or if you want to find something else universal, you can talk about matters of the heart and matters of the crotch. And those are, crotch is a horrible word. But
coming out of your mouth is also pretty atrocious. So it's just, see, we'll find more words along the way. Just to add to the list.
When you said coming out of my mouth.
Way worse than anything you've said so far, yeah.
What I envisioned was
now it's an image,
graphic.
Yeah, it's horrible. Actually, I take it back. That was worse.
So I went through this breakup last year, and I came to New York after both to give us both space, and because I love being in New York, and like just to do stand up, and I just started writing for the first time in my life about like, here's what I'm going through currently, and here's how I feel about it, and et cetera. And it's been wonderful. It's been like, so as I've had a personal sort of, I don't want to call it a tragedy, but huge disruption, it's also been like creatively like really fulfilling.
Well, it's good that you were able to channel it that way.
Yes.
Which I think is like the beautiful thing of pain.
But you were like, but it's good that you were able to channel.
No, I know, but I'm sure it's been very challenging.
Oh yeah. Well, it was challenging at first, and then it's been a lot of growth, and I mean, ultimately, as I said in the set that you saw, it's like it's been a good thing. It needed to happen. It was like the right time in both of our lives, I think. But it's been a huge thing to deal with. Yeah, it's been emotionally.
What's your biggest learning about yourself so far?
So I felt that, well, the most immediate thing was I felt like last time I was single, I was like 25, 26, and I was
scary.
I was so inept at dating in every way,
But that is kind of an ironic thing to say, having then like successfully gotten into a relationship, which is sort of the goal of dating.
Yes. But like it was the sort of, we clicked, but we sort of like clung to each other. You know what I mean? As like, I feel like no matter how bad you are at the process of dating, eventually you can meet someone where you like look in each other's eyes and you're just like, aha, it's easy and it's, right. And so we had that experience, right? But at the time that had happened, it was just like, she was a friend of a friend and we met and it was like, oh my God, this is great. I had given up on like dating in New York. I was like, I can't fucking live my way around this, right? But I always had in the back of my mind, like could I be okay at it? You know what I mean? Could I have a fluency with this like extremely common universal part of human social interaction? And it's been nice to find that I have. Like I give, I'm like, I give good first date. I give good third date. Everybody has a good time. You know what I mean?
How do you do that? What's your secret?
God, just by being like a human being. I don't know. There's a slight amount of performance, right?
Okay.
But of just like, everything's chill. Don't worry about it. Everything's going to be fine. You know what I mean? I think it's important to be like even. Does that make sense?
Okay. So say more about that.
Okay. Like, there's sort of a performance of like being unflappable in a way. Does that make sense?
Like
it's
a cool guy.
Not like a
You're
cool
like,
guy.
I'm so sick. No, I'm kidding. You on a date, you're like, I give a really good first date. I just go like this. I go, what do you have in toots? I'm a cool guy.
You just don't want to be stressed out, you know? I had so much, when I was younger, I had so much insecurity.
Desperation.
This has to go well. I'm worried it won't go well, you know?
Right.
And the key for me now is I'm like, hey, do you want to get a drink sometime? And if the person's like, no, I'm like, that's fine, you know?
Because it's not personal.
It's not personal. It's just like, whatever. Yeah, it's chill. Like, yes, I'd like to get a drink, but if, like, and there's no, it's important not to have like an expectation of where anything is going to go. You're getting a drink, you're getting one drink. That's it. You want to do more after that? You can.
Right.
But like, just like that level of comfort and ease with the social situation is like something I did not have that I now do. I think probably just from my general social skills improving, but it's I have a level of comfort that I used to lack, and sometimes it is a little bit of performance where I'm like I need to be communicating that, but most of the time I also genuinely feel that way, and so that's been nice to like experience about myself, because I was always like, this is a long relationship. I was like, if I was single again, would I feel comfortable dating, or would it give me an anxiety attack like it used to, you know? And it's been nice to be like, okay, no, I actually like grew in this way in the intervening time. I don't know if that's the biggest thing I discovered about myself, but it is a notable one.
Yeah.
How is this landing with you? I can't tell.
I'm just taking it in. I'm just curious about, because like you're kind of like so opposite from me. Like,
okay.
Because
how are you?
I'm not a relationship person. I've had very few relationships.
Yeah.
And I'm now even questioning if I want to be dating at all.
Uh-huh.
And it's just interesting to hear you having gone from a relationship and then thinking about dating as a skill and as like a goal.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And that's just not something that I guess like occurred to me.
Right. Yeah. So a big difference is that for me, I actually enjoy first dates. Right.
That's crazy.
And that's something that like I've been now doing it for a year. Right. But I still enjoy if I'm excited to meet the person.
10,000 hours of first dates.
Well, I mean, a little bit. It's not like a first date is like an end in itself. Well, no, it is. I mean, like, so I feel that if I'm on a date with someone, it's like a window into a piece of the world that I don't have experience in before, right? So I'm meeting a person I have never met, who has a different life experience, who has a different job, who maybe lives in a different place. And maybe we'll go to a bar that I've never been to before, or do something else that I've never done before. And it'll be like, this focused experience with a person that I can sort of, it's like traveling somewhere new. You go to a new city. You were just traveling, right? You go to a city you've never been, and you're like, oh, here's a way of life I didn't know existed. Here's a feeling in the air. Here's a feeling of the air against your skin, some music, some food, right? Just the whole sensibility is different, right? And so now when I'm dating, I'm like, oh, this person is, maybe this person is at an age of someone I haven't dated before. They're from a place, or they have an occupation, or they are a certain type of, even in cities like LA or New York, people who live in different neighborhoods have like different ways of showing up. You know what I mean?
Right.
And like, that's just really like engaging and fun to deal with. And so I've had so many first dates where I'm like, I'm never going to see that person again. I had a great time. Like, yeah, like, okay, I went on a first date with someone with a woman on a dating app here in New York, where I like booked a reservation at a wine bar on the Lower East Side.
Okay.
And it was like this street that I had not been on before, because I'm, haven't been to New York in a little bit, where it was like the whole street was like people, like wine bar people outside, like lining.
Was it Times Square?
I don't think it was Times Square.
It was just like, there's like
it
a
was
few
that,
sort of
that
streets
area.
Like that. Yeah.
It was like one street where like both sides of the street like were full of tables.
Yes.
Right. It was like really lovely. It was a beautiful evening. We had a great conversation. We had a fun time. I'm not certain I'm going to see this person again.
Right.
Like maybe not, but I'm like, I have really fond memories of those 2 hours, because it was like a time and a place and a person who I hadn't been around before. So I don't know. That's the way I approach it. Now, other people feel opposite. Like a friend of mine who I used to work with in comedy writing, a couple years ago, he got engaged. And I remember when I talked to him, he also lived in New York. I was visiting. And I was like, oh, congratulations. That's great. He's like, yeah, I'm so happy. I'm so sick of dating. I'm so sick of having the same conversation over and over again. And I understood that.
That's also like a really scary thing to say in the conversation about your engagement. Like, I don't want that. If my fiance says anything like that, like near my engagement, I will be like, we're not getting it. Like,
right?
Like, I don't want that to be in the mix.
So I'm glad I didn't include any identifying details.
Yeah, that's scary.
Yeah, because maybe the person's just trying to get out of dating, right?
Right. It's like what you're,
And that's fine. And like for a lot of people, getting into a couple is like that. When me and my ex met, it really was like, I am sick of being alone, and I want partnership, and I want emotional support, and I want the experience of being in a relationship and a couple, And so a lot of it was not wanting to be alone anymore, in addition to liking the person, right? And so that's a very understandable way to feel. But when my friend said this, I was like, I totally get why you would feel that way, but also sounds like you're going on a lot of boring first dates. You know what I mean? Like, if you're not enjoying the process of meeting new people, if it literally is feeling like I'm doing job interviews in order to find a spouse, like that might be the problem. And I don't know if that's a solvable problem, but like that sounds like a problem by itself. Like, you need to be loving life,
Well, that's why, that's kind of why I stopped dating. Like, I'm off the apps and stuff, because like, you go on these dates, like especially on Hinge, and I think we talked about this a little bit, because you're famously on Field.
Famously.
Well,
it's in my act, yeah.
Yeah. So like, everyone who's on Field, just keep swiping. You'll find
you'll find me if I'm in your city.
And a list of your kinks.
I don't list the kinks, and I also don't like match with the people who are just listing kinks. More power to them. God love them, but that's not my vibe.
And I love them.
Yeah, but please go on.
No, but yeah, because it's like I can't really find the joy in the first date at this point in my life. And it does feel like a lot, like especially on a Hinge, it feels like a lot. It feels like a job interview. It feels like, and I always know right away. Like I walk up to meet somebody and I go, oh no.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, then why did I, it just feels like a huge amount of time. And then in the back of my mind, no matter what I'm doing, I'm always like, well, I could be working.
Yeah.
So
I spent like 15 years doing nothing but working, and now I'm like, I need other things in my life, right? And I want, like, dating is like my break from working. It's how I force myself to stop working. One of the things I like about going on a date is that I can't look at my phone for 2 hours, or I'm being rude.
It's like yoga.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even do that when I watch TV anymore, right?
Oh, yeah,
like
always
I'm
on
just
my phone.
always on the phone. But like when I'm with another person, I at least have the basic social skills that I only look at my phone when I go to the bathroom.
Right. And also, like, on a first date, the stakes are like, you really can't look at your phone.
Yeah.
Because it's super rude.
It's you're really not interested.
And there's like almost no other social interaction that has that specific rule. Like if you're with your friend, even if it's like someone you really care about, your family, like you can look at your phone.
Yeah.
Like it's a little rude, and they'll be like, ugh.
And one of the things I like about first dates, just to get back to the thing about like it's like every person has a different window on the world. On a first date, you really are trying to understand the other person in some way, right?
Yeah.
If you just meet someone like at a business meeting or like as friends or whatever, you know, most of the time you're just like, oh, hey, what's going on? You might say, where did you grow up? You know, but when you're meeting someone on a first date, you're like, okay, so like, what's your deal?
Yeah, you're trying to like investigate them a little bit.
Yeah.
You want to get to the bottom of it.
And that's interesting. And they're maybe giving you the same amount of interest, you know? And
the difference is I do that to everybody, but okay, go on.
And we did do that to each other.
Yeah.
But that was more like a comedy thing where.
Right. And we're also talking about it in the context of like what we're working on and like how our work and our life and work.
Well, and yes, I'm giving you that attention because I'm interested in getting to know you as a comic, right? Because that's like something else that I love to do is like I love knowing comics. I love meeting more comics. I love like expanding my circle that way. And I think your work is awesome. And I was like, I wanted to meet you and get to know you, like on the professional comic side, right? Yeah, totally. And so I do that to other people, like, you know, where I'll give them that amount of focus. Like I want to get to know you, but I've been on dates with people who. The weird thing about the apps is you're like plucking people randomly out of the universe, right?
Right.
Just based on, are you attracted to each other a little bit? Okay, do you have good text chemistry, right? And so now you're just like meeting someone who's sort of like almost randomly selected.
Yes.
Like, and that means that I might get to know somebody who I would otherwise never speak to. And that's cool because I understand the human experience better. Like, and maybe I'm only feeling this way because I was in a extremely committed relationship for 15 years and now I'm doing this all for the first time. And here's the big difference. I'm not trying to get into a committed relationship anytime soon. I'm trying to learn to be alone and learn to build a life as a single person and like have my own self. Right? Before I need to do that for like a while before I even know what I want in terms of a relationship. So I'm literally just going on dates for the pure enjoyment of meeting new people and forming new types of relationships with them, you know? And so my goal is really like, I want everybody to have a good time, whether whether we're going to see each other once or we're going to see each other 5 times or we're going to see each other like, you know, in the future continually. It's like, let's have a good time. So the date at the wine bar that I told you about, or the one I was outside, I also had that reaction of like the person walked up and I was like, I don't think so actually, you know, but you're
also not like a horny teenager, so you can like make that call now in your life. Because like men in their 20s are just like, like they're just so gotta laugh from our man in his 20s in the room.
I mean, yes.
Like, No, one time my friend described his libido to me as a disability. So
I mean, a lot of my act right now, a lot of what I'm trying to figure out is like what is up with men, because men don't think about why we're like this, you know? And I've been thinking about that, you know, like, because yes, men do often have overpowering libidos. Men are also somehow brought up to believe that it's like immoral to turn down sex when it's available, that like you shouldn't do it. So I heard you did an Instagram like 2 days ago about, I hate that it's Instagram because I should be watching TikTok instead, but I am unfortunately on Instagram. Somehow I'm like, TikTok is better. I don't know why. Moving on. You had a thing where you were like, a friend of yours who's a 32-year-old man said, oh, you should only date people that you like.
Yeah.
And you were like, what a bizarre insight, right?
Yes.
From your point of view.
Yeah.
I have experienced this revelation.
Yeah. How old were you?
What'd you say?
How old were you when you found that?
This many years old. Or I've been
It was yesterday.
because like I've been like, I need to pay more attention to whether or not I'm actually into this person or whether I'm just like
horny.
No, whether or not I'm like feel somehow obligated to go as far as this person is willing to go with me or to close the deal or whatever. whatever, right? Because that's a thing that I think like men are brought up to do. I think men have trouble saying no to sex. Men have trouble saying I'm uncomfortable in this situation.
Because it's like it's not seen as masculine to not want sex from everybody. I find there's a flip side to like there's a toxic flip side too where like women, because that is true, of course it's true. So like as a woman, when a man is not interested in you sexually for whatever reason, like there are a plethora of incredible reasons for that not to be the case.
Yeah.
And things that should be that like you shouldn't be attracted ever. Anyway, and I have felt like not like I'm not a woman. I've also made a joke about this online, but it's like where I'm like, oh my God, you're rejecting. It's like, oh, am I, because men want to sleep with everyone.
Yeah.
So like, am I not even?
But this is what we are. Part of this is like different libidos between the sexes to some degree.
Right.
Or hormonal or whatever you want to call it. Some of it is just like what we're told about ourselves.
Yes.
And we just like live out the script. And so, yeah, like when I've been in situations, both, I remember this happening before my last relationship when I was in my 20s, where I genuinely felt like uncomfortable in a sexual situation. And it was difficult for me to say, actually, I would like to leave, you know? And not because I felt unsafe, but because it felt somehow like illegitimate for me to feel that way as a man. I didn't even like necessarily connect it to my masculinity. I was just like, is it all right for me to turn down sex in this moment? That actually was like a similar, just to bring it back to the orb thing for 1 second. I had a similar weird feeing.
It all comes back to the orb.
It all comes back to the orb, to this gig that I shouldn't have taken, where I, they made this offer, and I was like, there's no way I can do this. And then I was like, but like, it's so little work for some money, you know?
Right.
Again, it's not life-changing money, but it was like, it was good money for the one day they wanted me to do it, right? And I was like, God, anybody would be happy to get that, you know, to be able to, you know, pay their mortgage for doing this, you know, for doing this little work. Like, is it right to say no? Are my ethics so I think I'm so important. Yeah. Oh, it really matters whether Adam Conover does some fucking 2-minute video. Wow. And I imagined like my reps never said this, but I imagine them going like, oh, this guy doesn't even want to work. You know, he doesn't even give a shit about, you know, about making a living. Right. Like I'm being some fucking monk about it, you know? And somehow I was like, isn't it immoral not to like take an opportunity? I don't know why. That was just part of my thought. And that made me override my initial impulse, and also combined with my fuck it attitude, which is partially caused by my breakup and my midlife crisis. I'm sort of like being less rigid about a lot of stuff, blah, 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 blah. And then part of it was also just, it was the wrong judgment. But it was a similar thing where I've been in sexual situations where I've been like, I'm actually not super into this, but wouldn't it be wrong to walk away for some reason? And that when you say, do you have trouble saying no? I'm like, yeah, my instinct is, that's what tracked for me. My instinct is to say no, but I have some piece of me that's like, it's not okay for you to say no. And that makes me second guess my initial instinct. And then that sometimes leads me to make a mistake. I also think part of it is like in comedy, and as an adult, you have to do a lot of shit you don't want to do. And so you do have to override your impulses sometimes. You're like, I don't want to work right now. I want to just get high and watch a movie. No, I need to make myself do some work, right? Like you sort of put a leash on yourself. I feel like you're probably doing that to yourself to some extent at this point in your career. And so you get used to sort of pushing through to make yourself work hard. I think that's part of it too, where I'm like, oh, my intuition says I don't want to do this. But if I don't want to do something, that means I have to force myself to do it, because that's what it means to have work ethic, you know? Yeah. And so I'm trying to unlearn some of that a little bit. and trust my own instincts more. This is now fully a therapy session. This is like what I talk to my therapist about.
I was literally about to say, who did this to you?
I did it to myself.
You did it to yourself.
I did it to myself.
It's not like a family dynamic or like a sibling or.
I mean, my dad but I want to say my dad very type A, but he's very similar to me, which is that I've finally realized he had like ADD, but he was undiagnosed and he like just hit the gas on himself and pushed himself. And had a lot of anxiety around working, the same that I do now, where I'm sort of like, it's not okay if I'm not working right now. That's how I have trained myself to feel.
And it's just like your value system as well, probably.
It's my value system.
But you think it's more driven by anxiety?
I think I've probably created anxiety in myself by driving myself to do things. Like I was in my 20s. I was in a comedy group. Where it was me and my buddies, making sketch comedy, and we had some early success on the internet. The group broke up, and then I was like, I want to do comedy. I want to as a career by myself. And I was like, okay, I need to like push myself all the time to do it. I need to do open mics every night, and I put a big calendar on the wall, and I like, checked off every time I did it, that kind of thing. I would just like push myself. And I just sort of, by doing that, trained myself to believe that, it's like not okay to relax and it's not okay to say no. You also have that attitude of like, every time there's an opportunity, I must take it.
Yes.
And that's also part of the orb thing as well. Oh, well, here's the thing. If a thing is being offered, I must do the thing.
Right.
Because that's what I've been doing for 15 years to get to where I am.
Right. Have you said no to other deals like that?
Yes, but I can't like remember the specifics. I've been doing it for like more like a podcast ad will be like, like a gambling site or something.
Yeah.
And it's not, but that's a little bit more like, that's not a fit for the show. But yes, I have, but also like, again, this product, I looked at it and I was like, no one is going to do this because it's so stupid.
So you felt like the downside was, not quite there. But then
no one was hurt by me doing the ad because the product doesn't even really exist, right? So it's like no one is like signing up for the thing, as opposed to like, if you do an ad for like a debt product and then someone goes into debt as a result of it, like that's an actual bad outcome, right?
Right.
However, it was so. It ended up like violating my personal brand and my the trust that people had in me for so many years that it was like it was a major mistake in that world, and then again, also it was like, this isn't how I want to be spending my limited time on earth. Like when I did it, I got in there, I got out of there. I spent no time, I was like, I don't want to like talk to you people. You know what I mean? Yeah. Which all indicates I didn't really want to be doing it. I just had made myself do it for some perverse reason, So it was like I'm ultimately happy it happened because it reminded me of my values and like what I actually want to be working on, just in an extremely public, humiliating way.
Right.
That luckily was limited in its impact. Like, no, I did a video that people were like, I talked about it for 20 minutes on the internet and people were like, good, thank you. We're happy. Most people were satisfied by it, which I'm glad they were because I was trying to be as vulnerable and open about it as possible. But it was still like, I wish none of it had happened. Right. Well, I wish none of it had happened. And also it was a good learning experience. It was like, it reminded me of like what I want to spend my time doing. So,
I think what it does say about like you and your audience and how people see you and how people turn to you is that you are this like fact person. Yeah. And you have a lot of integrity in that and people really trust you for information. Yeah. Which I think is like kind of a huge responsibility.
Yeah, and maybe part of it for me is like I'm chafing at the responsibility a little bit. Because I built my career that way, by talking about things I actually care about, and I actually care about the truth and about making the world a better place. But like when that's like all that you do professionally, like after a while, I'm like, to talk about fucking, and I want to have a good time. I look at all these other comics around me who are just having fun. Right?
Yeah, they're miserable. So
yeah, I know, but their public personas are that they're having fun.
Yes.
Who's having fun and is secretly miserable?
Everyone. I think a lot of people see stand-up comedians and they're like, well, they're making me laugh, so everybody's having fun. And I think someone could be having fun on stage, but the things that they say are like secretly like really, really true. You know what I mean? Like there are a lot of comics that'll like air anxieties or whatever, and they'll say exactly what they're genuinely feeling and thinking.
Yeah.
And then as an audience, you're like, oh, that's ridiculous, and I'm laughing. But then they get off stage and they say the same thing.
Yeah.
Because they mean it.
But in a less fun way.
Yes.
Yeah.
But they genuinely like feel that way.
No, I know what you mean. Like I'm opening my sets by going like, hey guys, I'm crashing out in New York. I'm crashing out.
Which is funny, but
I am also crashing out a little bit.
But yeah, I'm sure sometimes you go home and you're like, damn, I'm really fucking crashing out,
yeah.
man. Like
my first 2 weeks here, I was like, in retrospect, I was like, oh, I was just like depressed. Like I had a good time in the city and stuff, but I was looking back and going, oh, I just had a little bout of depression right there, you know?
Yeah. And that's beautiful.
Thank you.
But I think it's a good pursuit to try and get yourself to be as happy as you can be. I think that's something that we all have to like work on constantly.
Yeah. And you have to have fun on stage. And that's because the audience, comedy has to be fun. So the audience has to be feeling that you're having fun. And that's something that I've been trying to, I guess comedy doesn't have to be fun, but most of the time it should be.
Yeah.
And I've been trying to work on that with my own stage persona because something that I think we related to each other on is that I've always been like a grind when it comes to comedy. That I always felt that the world was divided into comics who are just sort of born that way funny and comics who like teach themselves how to be funny.
Yeah.
That's an oversimplification, but you know, I would meet people like Michael Che and I started the same year. And like Michael Che was a prodigy. Like he was like, by year 2, he was like up at the Cellar or whatever. And there were articles about how like amazing he was, even though he had just started. And then he was on like, he was on the Daily Show and then SNL like 5 years later. And I was like, I'm teaching myself to write jokes. You know, and that difference was just so apparent where I was like, oh, he's just so natural up there. And like, you know, or somebody like, you know, Robbie Hoffman, you know, who I have gotten to know more recently and I love is just like, every word this person says is funny, you know. And
I'm so jealous of the people who speak in stand-up.
Who speak in oh, yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Like they're talking to you and it's fully like, I'm watching your set right now.
Yeah.
But in a way where they're like, they've just been doing it for a long time, most of them.
And I'm not trying to say that either of those people doesn't have craft or whatever or work hard at it. They do.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I could just be looking at the surface appearance and not know what goes on behind it. But I always felt that I was you know, grinding at comedy, trying to like make, you know, I got to make sure these jokes work in order to get the laughs out. And what I finally realized in the last year is I don't remember where I was stoned and figured this out. It might have been Amsterdam.
Perfect.
But I was like, oh, I have always used my jokes and my writing and my delivery as armor to protect myself from the audience. Because if I'm up there and I'm not making them laugh, I'm failing. They're going to see I'm failing. They won't like me. They'll think I'm a bad comedian. But if I get everything just right, if I put the jokes in the right order and I say the right thing and I inflect at the right moment, then I will force them to laugh and they will have to like me. And that's a lot of the way I've approached stand-up. The problem is that's an insecure way to approach it. Because if you don't do now, you're on the tightrope.
That's you on a first date when you were 25.
100%, right? 100, absolutely.
Yeah.
We're connecting. That's me. Yeah. If I don't do everything just right, it's going to be a disaster. I'll look bad, right?
Right.
And you're up there on the tightrope and the audience feels tense because they're like, oh, if things go a little bit wrong, this guy's going to freak out. and we're, you know, oh no, we're not laughing. That's a problem. He seems to think it's a problem, so it's a problem for us too, right? Yeah. But if you go up there as a comic and you're like, I'm having a blast up here. I don't care what happens.
It puts everybody at ease.
Yeah.
No, I have a friend who who's an amazing comic, and he was talking about, we were like on a trip together, and we were talking about how so I did a set one night, and he was just taking like the weekend off. And so he normally would always be like, comics are always like standing in the back, like we're sort of half listening, like whatever. And he was with other friends, so he sat down and watched the whole show. And there's like 150 people at this show. And he told me that what he realized was that everyone in the audience was nervous, like before the show.
Yes.
And there's this like anxiety of like, I really hope this goes well.
Yes.
You know, which is sort of a unique thing in
I've had the
stand-up.
same experience where I ended up in an audience with friends and have had the friends say like, oh, I'm scared. Actually, what happened was I was at like a restaurant once in LA with a couple friends years ago, and then a stand-up show started at the restaurant.
Horrible.
And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot Thursdays. There's a show here.
Yeah.
And my friends were like, oh no.
Yeah.
What if the comedians aren't funny? What if they
and they won't be.
What if,
so
what,
don't
what
worry
if
about
they
it.
are upset, right? And that is how people feel a lot. And you have to, as the comic, put them at ease.
Yeah.
And so that connects to what I was saying about on first dates. What I try to do now is like, if everything that happens on the date is fine with me, you know, like, you want to go for a drink? If not, that's fine. Hey, let's get a drink. Are we getting along? That's great. If we're not getting along that well, that's one drink. Hey, it was nice to meet you. I had a great time, you know?
Yeah.
Like, let's talk again sometime. Whatever. Like, no big deal. Like, that's much better no matter what happens. And so, and sometimes you have to put on the ease a little bit, but like the same as with stand-up comedy, you have to like, but you also have to actually feel easy, right? Because a weird thing about people is that you can try to perform all you want, but on some level, when someone is like looking at you and talking to you, they can see everything about you. And, and the audience can see everything about you too. I'm sure you've had the experience of, I'll be watching a comic and I'll be going like, yeah, they're killing, but I can tell that they've been doing comedy for less than 5 years and that this is the best 10 minutes that they have. You know what I mean? You can sense exactly, or oh, this person's nervous, but they've overcome it. Or this person is whatever. You can just sense it off of them. And I can...
and maybe the audience can't quite name it as well as you can.
Exactly.
But there is this like animalistic thing where it's like the same thing too, where I fall into this trap where like, you know, sometimes you're like, you're not feeling it that day. You had like a weird afternoon and then you go and do a set and you're like, okay, well, sometimes I get stuck in the trap of like, I'm reciting right now. And you really have to be vigilant as a comic to be like, I can't, like if you're reciting, doesn't matter how good your jokes are, you're bombing. So like, but that's, the audience can tell.
You have to be able to do both things. You need to, you know, eventually you do have divided mind when you're doing stand-up where like, I'm doing my joke, but also what's going on with this table over here or whatever, you know, your mind is in two places. And that happens when you know your joke really well. But if you do the whole set that way, you eventually just start reciting and like the audience can tell and they just, you know, they feel like they're watching a stand-up special at home or something, you know. But the what is it?
It doesn't feel like active in the room, which is the point, is to feel like you're having a conversation with someone.
Exactly. I mean, that's why I try to focus more when I'm starting a set. I haven't been doing this very well in New York the last couple of weeks, honestly, but what I try to do more when I'm on the road is to just be like in the room with the crowd.
Yes.
You know, like I at the very least try to go like, where the fuck are we? Like, what is this place? Like that kind of room work or whatever is so important to just be like, yes, I am in the same place with you. We're all here right now. You know, a circle has been drawn around all of us. We're all in one group mind and whatever happens in here is going to be okay is like really critical. And like, if the problem for comics like you and me is it's a little harder to, well, I actually don't want to label you that way, but I think what's the problem with the grind mindset, right? Or I got to write, joke writing is that like it treats the laughs as something that you're going to like force out through craft rather than like an easy way of being that simply is funny, you know? And I've been trying to, hopefully not trying too hard, but I've been trying to like bring that out of my performance.
Well, from watching you the other night, I felt like I didn't feel like you were reciting it all. I mean, I think we're probably both like very hard on ourselves. Like we're thinking like, oh yeah, they can, I want to be the best I can be. But like, I mean, it felt very like noticeably comfortable, conversational. And especially because I was coming at it from not having seen you do stand up before. And I've seen, like Adam Ruins Everything and sort of like that stuff is so curated.
Yes.
And so, because it's so factual, you're sort of like delivering.
Yep.
Facts.
And I was when we wrote that show, I was like, my whole attitude about it front to back was perfectionism. I was like, I must tighten every screw. I have to go to every screw in this thing and tighten it over and over again. Yeah. So like, we had a writer's room and they would, we'd write the script and it's not going to be good unless I then take the script and go through it myself and like make sure that it's really strong, and like if I thought a joke was like less than perfect, it would like kill me, but sometimes just I would have to let one by. And it would be like glaring to me. This moment doesn't quite work. And that ethos is part of why the show is good. Like I'm really proud of the show, but also I don't want to work that way anymore. And that's all I can see when I look at it. It's like ultimate try hard. It's every single moment has to work perfectly. And I think it does for the most part. The reason I said sometimes I'd be like, oh, this joke isn't perfect. And then we would record it and I'd be like, actually, that worked great. Like, why was I stressing out so much about it? And that was my first hint that this was like not the perfect way to work, like this like obsessive perfectionism. I also treated my last stand-up special for Dropout called Unmedicated. I like worked on that special for too long. I like spent too long with the material and I tried to tighten the screws too much. And when I watch it, I'm super proud of the special. People really liked it. The taping was one of the best days of my life. When I watch it, I'm like, I'm too tight. I'm too try hard. I'm not having enough fun. I'm like focusing too much on making it work. I'm scared it's not going to work. And I see that. That's not what other people see. But that's what I'm trying to get away from and find some like ease and some comfort and some confidence and just like, hey, whatever. So my new thing is I'm just going to come to New York. I'm going to write some shit about whatever happens. I'm going to go on the road. And then what I want to do is just set a date for the taping. And then I will tape my hour and it'll be the hour that I have. And then we'll do a new one, and that, we'll see how that works. Maybe that'll be too loose. But I'm currently liking working that way, You know what
I love about stand-up, actually, as a sort of like reformed perfectionist, is that...
You're not reformed, but go on.
I think you're projecting. It's an active practice, though. Like, I mean, I definitely have like perfectionist tendencies, and there are a lot of parts of my life that I am very like about. But I do think, stand-up has like beaten a lot of that out of me, both because of what we're talking about, which is like you can't be perfect on stage. In fact, it will make it worse actively and in the moment, and you'll get the instant feedback. But also, I love that it's never done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like stand-up is like something that it's like a ball of clay and you can mold it forever.
Yeah.
And like, to your point, like if the last special wasn't exactly what I wanted it to be, I'm writing a new one.
Yeah.
Like, okay, that joke is stale. Okay, now it's gone and I'm doing it new and maybe I'll come back to it. Like it's just like a living document.
Yeah.
Which I really enjoy.
It's there are things that you said that I really agree with. I'll adjust my own metaphor slightly. I love thinking about clay. It comes up a lot for me with stand-up for some reason because I said like, I'm just slapping clay down on the pottery wheel and just like, it's ugly. I don't know what it is yet. Let's just start it spinning and get my hands on it. That's how I feel like what I do in New York. But then when I'm working on an hour, when I'm on the road, it starts to harden sometimes before I want it to, And so I'll like have this bit where I'm like, I like the premise, but it's working. It's working enough for me to keep doing it, but there's something more I want out of it. And now it's too late to change it because I keep saying it this way. And the way that I say it comes from the previous joke and leads to the next joke, you know, and one of the hardest things to do is when I've been doing a joke for like 3 or 4 months to then find a new angle on it or a new word. Sometimes I can do it, but it's like really rare for me to find a new tag or something. And so usually that means you have to do what you said, which is like discard it and just have something new there, which is sort of what I came here to do. I'm like, all right, I'm going to write a new 15 or 20, and then I'll chop out 15 or 20 out of the old, you know, the old hour, and that'll freshen the whole thing up, and it'll like, you know, I don't know, maybe I'm spraying the clay with water. Do you do that?
Yeah, that's a good.
Yeah, is that good for a metaphor?
I like that. And you're reforming it.
But yeah, Chappelle has some line once that he said about like the treads wear out on a joke or something. Like, the jokes harden, and then they have a time limit. After they become hard, they're hard to change, and then after you've done them that way for too long, they stop
being funny.
They stop working.
They stop working, and you can't like make that. Yeah, I have a few jokes like that where I'm like, I know this is a good joke, and it used to really, really work, and I just like can't say it anymore. Like it just don't. My heart's not in it. I don't like love it. I don't like believe in it in the same way. But then there are other jokes that I've been doing for longer that I still can do because they're more active, because I have a different relationship with that thing or that material.
I'm doing in my hour currently a joke that I wrote over 10 years ago. It was like my closer towards the end of my time in New York, and it's back in the act now because I had never taped it elsewhere, and that's been an interesting experience. But I think the other thing that you said that I related to is that like you're never done working on stand-up overall. Like it's an endless practice. I've been doing it for this long, and I just this year feel like I figured out this thing about me using my jokes as armor, and I need to focus on my being natural on stage.
Right.
And I'm like, that's a whole new thing for me to work on that other people might have figured out 15 years ago. For me, I figured it out now. And that's really cool. And it makes me wonder, like, what else am I gonna learn in the years to come? And that's when I start relating to, like, I don't know, Mark Maron's like in his 60s and is like on his podcast for the last couple of months. He's still doing it, going like, you know, when you're, and they don't like you, but you're trying to do this. You know, he's like still puzzling through it and trying to figure out how to do it. And I really relate to that now. Like you're never done getting better at it. There's always still some mystery about how do I do this?
So, okay. So now that you're like you're getting all loosey-goosey on us. You're in this midlife crisis. You're getting a Lambo or whatever.
Sure. I did not get a Lambo.
You're moving to Miami.
I did start driving again. A whole chunk of my last special is about how I didn't drive in LA.
What?
Yeah.
You didn't drive in LA?
I didn't drive. Yeah, I took public transit. I took a lot of Ubers. I was being stubborn. This is part of my rigidity that I was trying to release. I was like, I don't like cars. I'm going to live without them. And I did that. And then my ex and I broke up.
Impossible.
No, it wasn't impossible, but it was made possible by dating someone who did drive.
Yeah.
Who on the times that I needed to, you know, she could drive around. But then when we broke up, I was like, I can't live like this anymore. Yeah. And I started driving, and I got a car. And I got a nice little electric Hyundai sedan, and I was picking the color, and my friend was like, I was like, I think I'm getting black, but this one dealership, they only have red. And he was like, only get red if you want people to know it's a midlife crisis. Isn't that funny? That like a man getting a red, any other color, fine. Yeah. Like it comes in 6 colors, red's one of them. But if you get red, as a 42-year-old man who just went through this, it's saying something about you.
In fact, it's a red flag.
It's a red flag.
That's beautiful. Wait, so how is this gonna, I guess my question is like, so how is this gonna inform your art? I mean, because you have your podcast now that and your YouTube channel. And is that the main thing, like outside of stand-up that you're
It's like YouTube podcast touring. I mean, I'm working on television pitches. I'm working on some other projects that are like longer term. You know, TV's in a bad spot, so it's like I'm trying to figure out the next thing. Like so much of the TV industry that I used to do, like the last days of cable, has just gone to YouTube. Yeah. Like they don't make talk shows anymore. They're just on YouTube. YouTube is the most popular streaming platform on television sets. Yeah. And their biggest platform is television sets. And so like, you know, like what we're doing right now, this is unfortunately TV. So I'm like, And I'm lucky to be doing a podcast that has, a big audience and I'm able to make a living off of, and do these YouTube videos. But I would love David Zaslav or Ted Sarandos to give me some money and a deadline, So I'm also working on that as well. And maybe one day, I got some ideas I'm excited about. But
so like for your TV pitches, without obviously going into like too much detail, is that more in the vein of like what you've been doing, like the G word stuff, or like
No, it's about the stuff that I'm writing about is love and sex again. Like
so you're really going full throttle. Like this is like the new chapter in your life.
I think so.
Yeah.
It's just I'm just following what I'm interested in. I mean, I really still care about like I'm still a stand-up comic. A huge part of my comedy is always going to be like topical, like just me as myself saying things to you that I think are true and are funny. And that is what I'm doing a lot of time on my podcast and on my YouTube channel with the monologues that I do. But I eventually started to feel like it was feeling one note to me. It was feeling like I was just the metaphor I keep using is that it felt like I was just like jamming the same key on a piano, like harder and harder, like if I just hit this hard enough, I'll be more famous, And it's not just about being more famous, but I'll be
more
like
successful, like keep going up.
More people will see it. And part of it's career aspirations, part of it's creative aspiration, Like I always want to do something bigger and better. And I want more praise and approval from other people. And it would be nice to also have more money, although I'm doing fine, right?
Although ladies, he's doing fine. All right.
I'm doing fine, folks. Don't worry about me. We're eating well at my house, okay? Everything's all right. We're paying the utility bill. Don't stress about that piece of it. I'm ambitious. I always want more. I think it's a curse to be ambitious to some extent.
The only successful people are like, I think you have to have that to want to keep going.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have that, then no one's going to tell you to keep going. And then like, why would you?
It's true, but it also means you're never satisfied.
Yeah, totally.
Like ambition means that you are never satisfied. And I know plenty of people who are like, I'm happy doing what I'm doing. And I'm like, God, that must be nice. I'm never happy. Literally a thing that I grapple with is I have already fulfilled every goal I had as a comedian when I started. Like when I was 25 and my sketch group had broken up, right? And I was like, I want to be a comedian. I was like, I want to make a living on the road. I want to be able to say whatever I want. I want people to stop me on the street and say, hey, I think you're funny. That was something that I wanted.
Yeah.
All of those things have happened to me, right? And happen all the time. And yet I am like, God, things are not where I want. Like, what's next, man? And that is another personal thing that's another therapy session.
Can I also say that I've never talked to anyone that I've deemed like successful, like, wow, I really want to be like that person. Oh, I wish I had what they had or whatever. Like they're doing all these amazing things. Every single person, and once I've met that person, they have all said exactly what you said. Yeah.
And I had that experience. This is seared in my memory. A version of that story for me is when I first moved to LA, I was lucky enough to get to have dinner with the LA Times food critic, Jonathan Gold, who was a really important writer in LA. He had won a Pulitzer Prize for his food writing. And I was there because my my girlfriend at the time, was like writing for the Lucky Peach food magazine. And there was some dinner that they had arranged and I got to go. And with this guy who everybody reveres. We went to a really great restaurant. He was telling us stories and stuff. It was so cool. And then at one point he goes like, yeah, I just had to make peace with the fact that I'm never getting the New York Times job. And I was like, this guy is the most famous food writer in America, I think, or at least one of the two, right? He had won a Pulitzer. He died a couple years later. So I was really lucky to meet him. But I was like, okay, that guy, there's something that the universe didn't give him that he wants, and it's literally just the only other thing that was like the only thing in America that he could have wanted was to like work for the New York Times. And he was like, fuck, I just had to fucking make my peace with that. And so, yeah, that's true of That's true of everybody. Chappelle has something that he wants that he can't have. I don't know what it is, but he's got the thing. Even Donald Trump, he's president and he's still mad he's not respected, you know? Like everybody has something that they want. But if you can make some peace with it, I think you're better off. The other thing though is I'm trying to find creatively what is interesting to me, and I have gotten a little bit sick of are we running long?
No.
Okay.
No.
Good.
No, I've heard out, but
I know, but I also saw. No, I saw. Look, I just recorded my own podcast, and I know how the producer moves when they're letting you know how much time has elapsed. I don't know how much time has elapsed, and I don't know how long your runtime is.
Yeah,
I will make this 2 hours long.
No, let's keep. I wish we had 2 hours. I'm like pissed we don't have 2 hours because I would sit here with you for 2 hours.
Oh, that's nice.
But I have to go to
here too.
I have to go to a wedding.
You have to go. You have to go to a wedding.
I have to go to a wedding.
Wow. Well, you're dressed for it.
Yeah, it's my best friend's wedding, and I'm speaking tonight in Southampton.
In Southampton?
Yeah, I have to get
You're
on
getting
a train.
on the Long Island Railroad?
Yeah.
To Southampton? It's 3:30. When is this wedding?
It's at 7:30.
What? It's at 7:30.
It's a rehearsal dinner.
You have to be in Southampton at 7:30 in 4 hours?
Yeah, I'm gonna get there at 6:07. I'm gonna shower really quick, get in my dress.
Okay.
It's fine.
All right. No, I know the Long Island Railroad. It's a very timely train station.
Hey, and guess what?
Yeah.
Grind set.
Grind set. Grind set.
Sorry, you think I wasn't going to fill every second of today leading up to this wedding?
Yeah.
I'm gone for the whole weekend. I have to do stuff.
Yeah, this is what I do. I do this when I'm in New York too. Is I pack in every single second. So what was I saying? I have also gotten like creatively just kind of bored with the sound of my own voice saying the things that I say.
Yeah.
You know, I spent 10 years learning about stuff, making it funny, repeating it back to people in this very intellectual way. Mm-hmm. And then I started to add more activism and more stuff about the world and shit that I actually cared about, especially around like COVID times 2020. I got a lot more politically active and I got involved in my union and stuff like that. And people know me for that too. And they don't just say, hey, you're funny. Oh, thank you for the work you do. They say, I'm like, that's really nice too. But it's become a little bit stale to me, and I've been doing it for so long. I'm gonna keep doing it. It's part of who I am. But I want to like find these other colors to paint with, and these freshen it up a bit. And so that's again going through a big personal change in my life has changed the kind of like thing I want to talk about. And it's like just more fun to like do jokes about fucking, honestly.
Listen, as someone who does it, it's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's silly. It's crazy. I think dating is this like totally insane part of our lives that we all just live through. I think breakups are probably the most insane thing that exists because they don't make any sense. Like in your body, like your brain loses I was listening to this podcast about it was like a therapist, whatever, psychologist person, and he said that when you go through a breakup, it's like the same thing in your brain as going through heroin withdrawal. Because that's like you're like addicted, like your body's like addicted to this like thing, and then it's just like
at the very least it's grief, right? It's similar to when someone dies.
Absolutely. But with grief, I think we are weirdly more equipped to handle that as human beings. Like we know, like as devastating as losses, I mean, it's like the worst thing,
Yeah.
But I think we are able to process it better. I think the weird part about a breakup is the person is still out there.
Yeah.
So they're dead to you. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm very lucky because me and my ex are still like in each other's lives, and we're still.
But that definitely comes with its own challenges.
It's true, and we'll probably encounter some later on. Right now, it's like very. We're like, okay, good, we're friends. We like, go to,
I'm still friends with all of my exes.
Yeah.
Red flag. So but I think because I hate the idea of like tossing people away. That really, really, really gets to me. Mm-hmm. And I think like if you're with somebody for that long, if you're a short time, like it's because you like them. It's because you really like them.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, but the whole thing, I mean, yeah, it's all insane to me.
the breakup, the divorce, the stuff that I'm going through now is so universal to people. And also people don't talk about this side of it nearly as much. There's like, there are comedians who, like yourself, talk about like all the dating. I knew comics who like specialized in like, I'm doing nothing but dating comedy.
Yeah, which by the way, great. I do online. I don't do on stage. So just so you guys know.
I didn't accuse you of that.
Okay. I'm just,
But it's a great area, right?
It's a rich topic.
People talk about the other side of it a lot less. And so part of my experience has been like, I think I told you this when we were hanging out, that people get together in their 20s and they're like, I found the love of my life and this is going to be my life now. And then a lot of those people, maybe the majority of those people, some number of years later, usually around this stage of life, those relationships start ending and they start going, oh, and this is, by the way, the definition of a midlife crisis. Oh, wow, I achieved everything that I thought I wanted and yet it's not what I wanted and here I am again starting over.
Yeah.
And that is a really fascinating place to be.
Wait, is it that it wasn't what you wanted, or has what you wanted changed, or like the target moved?
Great question. I think that I think that for both of us, what we wanted changed. And it took a while to acknowledge that.
Yeah.
It doesn't even make sense to say, was what we wanted back then continuous with what we wanted now? Like we were different people, you know, like so many years had elapsed.
Yes.
So the relationship that we were in 2024 did not work for us the way that it worked in 2009. Yeah. Fucking of course.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Like it was, Obama had just been elected.
Yeah. The whole world was pretty different.
The whole world was pretty fucking different, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I had a lot of, there was more that I wanted to do in my life and the same thing for her. I was sort of wanted to embark on a project of figuring out what that was. And the other thing I was going to say is that just you asked about like my shit creatively, and so I might as well say this piece as well, is that like I started to just feel like the person I was personally was different than what I was putting out on screen.
Yes.
That like
I see that.
On Adam Ruins Everything, I was playing a character.
Absolutely.
Like it was not me.
Like a hyper nerdy
version of myself
right. Which is probably why it was like fun and trustworthy and, people turned to the nerd and you're playing the nerd. And that was in the time of like the Big Bang Theory. There was like a nerd sort of resurgence.
Yep. And autistic characters and a lot of like there was Abed on Community and stuff like that. And a lot of autistic people actually didn't realize this for years. Clocked Adam from Adam Ruins Everything as being autistic or at least being representational, or they felt like they related to the character. But unfortunately, something that has always bothered me is that there's a certain number of people who think that character is literally me.
Right.
And they'll like say like,
because it is your name.
It's my name, right? I named it myself because I wanted to promote myself as a comic.
Yeah,
but
it's like, not Ted Ruins Everything.
If I were to look at myself, when people are posting online, there are a certain number of people who go like, oh, Adam Conover, that guy's so smug and annoying. He's such an annoying nerd. Like that was a character. That wasn't me.
Right.
And then even on my podcast and YouTube, I'm speaking as myself, but
it's a version of you.
It's a version of me, and it's this constructed sort of.
It's like the reporter, like internet reporter.
Yeah. Sometimes when I'm doing a podcast, I feel like I'm acting like a TV interviewer rather than being myself. Or when I'm doing a monologue, I'm sort of like constructing a speech. And ideally, it's something that I think, but I'm like, okay, I need to have a positive takeaway at the end and da-da-da-da-da-da.
But also you have to, because you're dealing with sort of you're dealing with like, and especially the stuff you're dealing with now, because like, I don't know, facts are so, like everything is so weighty, and like news and information is like really difficult. Like I don't blame you for really curating it.
Well, but the problem is who do people like even more on the internet than me? They like the dumbasses who just turn on the microphone and start talking.
Yeah.
And whether or not they know what they're talking about, because
Yeah.
those people are being authentic dumbasses, right? They're
Right.
just being themselves. And me trying to make everything so factual and so funny and like writing it, ends up feeling like, again, like armor, like a mask or something, and also the fact that it's always got to be political. It's always got to be, have the right view. It's got to be the message I want to put out in the world. That's part of, makes me feel like I'm putting on some big fucking show, and where am I in it? So part of me wanting to do material about my personal life is like, well, the last year I went through all this personal chaos, and like, it's not reflected in the work that I'm doing. I want people to see it. I want them to, like, part of why I want to do comedy is I just want to be accepted and loved by people, and that means being my authentic self on stage in a way I haven't been before. And that's what I've been trying to figure out how to do for the last year. And the whole Orb incident ties really interestingly into this. This is, by the way, the most I've talked about any of this shit on any podcast. So I hope people.
Glad we got the exclusive.
I'm like, do I want people to see it or not? I'm not sure. But like, tie back to the Orb thing. First of all, my ex, when she saw it, she was like, "It's funny that you did that. It seems like maybe you were rebelling against the person that you were being a little bit." And I was like, that might be true. Maybe it was part of me being sick of how right and perfect I had to be about everything. Because in real life, no one is right and perfect. And I just, maybe I wanted to fuck up in some way. But also that incident made me want to be myself on stage even more, because I was like, okay, I've created this persona that people care about that was like violated by me doing that. But like, I don't feel like that persona. I want people to know me, And so it made me less interested in just like being fact guy, info guy, activism guy. I mean, like, I just want to talk about heartbreak and sex and insecurity, and like just go through a period where like maybe people get to know like me a little bit more. So I'm less of this like constructed thing that means something to them that I have to perform as all the time.
Right. But what the good thing is that what you are, though, is like obviously very intelligent, curious about the world, curious about people.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that will all tie into like this new chapter as well.
Yeah.
And, work its way naturally into your material, into your act, into like whatever your next step is, as long as you're like curious and exploring it. I think that's like the key.
I hope so.
Yeah.
And I hope that like, if I do this new hour comes out the way I want it to, and it is like people see it as a bit of a left turn, or like here's something surprising and new, I can then take that and then reintegrate it back with, the stuff that people know me for, and sort of be a fuller version of myself,
Yeah. Right.
Because there are people who I admire online who do material like this where I'm like, oh, I feel like I know them, I don't know, like Hank Green is very good, right? And when I watch him, I'm like, this is just who this guy is. I don't feel like he's performing it that much.
Right. And I don't know a lot about his personal life, but like you do feel like you know him regardless of what he's talking about.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying.
And so I'm trying to get a little bit more into that. I don't know. That's not quite a North Star. It's just like something that occurred to me at this time.
But it's important to sort of like pull from things, and like, I mean, that's how we all work, is like looking around and seeing what's out there, and then being like, oh, am I jealous of that? Do I want to, like, what can I learn from this? How is it applicable? Is it applicable? Stuff like that.
I'm jealous of a lot of things. I'm jealous of, I get jealous when I see other people in the public eye just being free and themselves and having fun and not worrying so much, and that's what I'm trying to get to more in my work and in my personal life, and not try so hard to be perceived a certain way, or to perform a certain way, or to like get a certain reaction out of people.
Yeah, because ultimately you can't control how people react.
That's really hard to accept, but it's true.
It is true. It is true. But it's a cool thing that you're exploring, and I'm like, very excited for you.
Oh, thank you.
I'm very excited to see the hour. I'm like very curious about it. I feel like it, and from what I've seen already, I'm super interested in it.
Thank you. Well, if people want to see it, I just announced a whole big batch of fall tour dates.
Oh.
Go to adamconover.net for tickets and tour dates. Did you see the name of the tour?
No.
It's called the Big Divorce Energy Tour.
Let's go.
Do you like that title?
That is millennial chic.
Oh, oh my God. What a fucking burn. That's millennial chic.
Yeah, I like FOMO-sexual better.
You liked FOMO-sexual? That, I think, is the name of the special.
Yeah.
You like that better than Big Divorce Energy?
Yeah.
Why?
Because Big Divorce Energy, I feel like Big Dick Energy has been done.
Yeah, true.
So, and I don't know what you're saying with Big Divorce Energy. It doesn't reveal anything about you.
It's too late. It's already on the flyer.
No, but I like it.
Other people told me they liked it.
No, and I like it.
Yeah. It comes from
like it. No, I like it. I think it's great. I think it's perfect for a tour. I think it's like, oh, cool. Yeah, like I know.
No, it looks good on you. No, it actually does look good. No, because the silhouette is it's actually very flattering.
Now that I'm closing my eyes, I really like it.
It came from this idea that like me and my ex were never married, so we never got divorced.
Right.
But it's like
essentially what you have is a divorce, of course.
And also it was sort of the most we didn't like announce we were breaking up, so it's like the most public sort of thing that I've posted where people are like, okay, this guy, if people are trying to figure it out, there it is. You know?
But I like it. I think it's stop now. I'm saying I like it.
You do like it.
I do
okay,
like
good,
it.
I'm going to believe you.
I do like it, and I am really excited to see more of what you're talking about. And wait, when are you aiming to film it? Do you have a date?
No, I don't have a date yet. But it'll be later this year sometime. I need to put it together.
That's great.
Trying to. Yeah, they're gonna probably do a little self-produced thing and do it straight to YouTube is probably the way to go.
Well, you have such a fat following on there. You might as well.
Fat fucking following.
I'm jealous of your huge divorce energy following. Your throbbing divorce energy. Anyway, wait, so last question we ask on the pod.
Please, yes.
And I didn't give this to you in advance, which maybe is okay.
Okay.
But what is your most embarrassing moment?
What is my most embarrassing moment? The story that came to mind is like a little bit of a story, but I can share it with you.
Yeah,
do you have time? How much time do you have?
1 minute.
1 minute?
Can you give me a 1 minute
before you have to go?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll see how fast I can tell this story.
Yeah.
I was at like a Boy Scout camp, and like I don't remember why, for some reason I had like no other clothes other than like my Boy Scout uniform, and I slept in them one night and pissed the bed because I was at an age where
how old are you?
Just bed. I don't remember. I was probably I'm gonna say it was like 14 or it was like too late for that, but it was like it's just like still.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
You spent this whole day talking about how your character on Adam Ruins Everything is not accurate to you, and then you go, but when I was 14, I would piss myself in my sleep.
You think the character on Adam Ruins Everything pisses himself? That never happens on the show. You think that
the nerdy yes, yeah, dude.
Yeah, and I had no other clothes, so I stunk of piss.
No.
And specifically, I remember we were all taking as Boy Scouts a ferry boat ride for some reason. I don't remember where we were, like some camp on Long Island that you'd take a ferry boat to. Aww. And people were like, "Why does it smell like piss on the ferry boat?" And then one of my friends goes, "Hey, I think it's actually you that smells like piss." And I was like, "Yeah." Nothing I can really do about that. I just smell like piss today. So that's a better embarrassing story.
Oh no.
That's less comedy related, yeah. But like bedwetting is just like something that happens to children that eventually goes away. So I'm not I have grace for myself now. I didn't do anything to cause this problem.
In the moment, yeah, that would be pretty upsetting.
Pretty embarrassing. But I was very much just like I think the way I handled it, have you ever like thrown up in public because you were too drunk? Have you ever had that experience?
No.
I have done that, and the psychology of it sometimes is you're just like, I have to throw up, and like, it's going to be embarrassing, but I just have to not care. you know, and it was a little bit like that. I was like, well, this is horrible, but like, what else am I supposed to do?
There's literally nothing. I'm gonna radically accept this situation because there's nothing I can do here.
Nothing I can do about it. Like, yeah, guys, yeah.
This is gonna be embarrassing no matter what.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's beautiful. Sounds like you kind of had like a good grasp on it even as a child.
Perhaps. I think so.
Because embarrassment is sort of like a state of mind.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a thing that happens to adults as much.
Yeah.
Because,
adults,
we have a better understanding of the world. And
I mean, I've certainly embarrassment happens to me now, but I'm a little bit more aware that it's in my own mind. Most people don't actually care about what you do.
And it also doesn't have the lasting impact of like, this is so embarrassing, I'm never going to recover.
I will say that children in social situations do put embarrassment on each other. Like they will,
they'll drive it home.
They will drive it home and remember it forever and be like, aren't you the kid who...
They'll call you pissy pants, Adam. Like they'll do the whole thing.
Yeah. I don't remember if that happened, but I didn't stay in Boy Scouts much longer, so it could be. Excuse me.
Anyway, well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast,
Thank you for having me on.
This was really a treat.
What is it about you that makes me tell you everything about myself?
I have that effect on people.
Do you really? Do you find you have that effect?
I think so.
Because it really did occur.
It's my big eyes.
Okay, big eyes.
Yep.
Yeah.
They just, people get lost in them. No, I don't know. I try. I think it's because I'm curious, and I think people can tell.
Yeah,
because I love to just know about stuff. And I want to know. I want to know what gets people. I want to know what makes people tick.
That's it's dangerous, but it's a good skill.
Oh yeah, it gets me in trouble. Anyway, thank you so much for coming on. This has been an absolute treat. I'm so excited for what's next for you.
Thank you.
I am sure everyone listening is as well. And yeah,
I'm so excited to see what you do.
Thank you.
Yeah, I am.
And maybe we'll find a way to work together.
That would be great.
That would be cool.
Do we have rapport? I think so.
I think so. Look at this. This is fun.
Look at this.
We have fun on the pod. All right. Have a great rest of your day. I'm going to a wedding.
Have a good time.